Alright, so the past week I've made a little bit of progress without filming it just because it was kind of tedious and a lot of cutting, so I didn't think you guys would really want to watch it. But tonight we're going to get some parts on this thing and get it one step closer to firing up. We've got our blow-off valve in. We're going to finish up the tacking together of the rest of the piping.
Yeah. Nothing, I just want to take it for you.
We're gonna put up the rest of the tacking together of the intercooler piping with the blow-off valve, and we're gonna make the wastegate actuator. I say make the wastegate actuator because the wastegate actuator that came with the turbo that we're using for Mike came with a 14 psi spring in it. And instead of trying to find a wastegate that'll fit in there and going through all that crap, I have several Juke wastegate actuators laying around. They're 7-pound springs from the factory. So we're just going to modify that to fit onto this turbo. That way we have a 7-pound spring in there. It's pretty much all the boost that he's going to be running. That should get him well above the 250 mark that he's kind of looking for. So we're going to get to it. So like I said, I did some stuff while this past week, haven't been recording. I got all the intercooler piping, figured out where I want to go. I made this band here, tack welded everything together, so this is actually all one piece. This is cut up a while ago. We have our flange for our blow-off valve. I just got to pick one or two spots that I'd like to put it. Drill that hole, tack that on, and that'll be ready to go. But I'm quite happy with how this looks. It's actually really pretty, if I do say so myself. Probably one of the more attractive intercooler setups I've made. Helps when you can take weld aluminum. It's nice to be able to do that. So like I was saying, the wastegate actuator that this came with is 14 psi, which is just a little too much. Luckily the actuator separates from the bracket, so we still have a good bracket for the turbo. And this is a Juke actuator, and the bracket is actually welded to the actuator itself. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut off the bracket a little bit, leave some laying around, so that I can actually slide this through, and then whatever's left of the bracket I can weld to this bracket. Then I'm going to cut this actuator arm off, and then I'm going to weld on a threaded part from the other actuator so that the adjustment can actually go back on, so that we can adjust the pre-tension on the wastegate actuator. I know it sounds like a lot of work, but this is technically free. And I've already done this on the budget turbo car, and I know how to do it. It's not hard to do. Probably take me like an hour or so, which is still better than buying, 3 different actuators, hoping one of them fits either this bolt pattern or is short enough or long enough or something like that. Now, fortunately, because we're going to be making the actual actuator arm itself, it's not really that big a deal exactly how this sits. The location of the actual nipple is actually more important. So this actually will go something like that. I'll mark it, tack weld it, and then continue on. Alright, so we got the wastegate actuator all made up and adjusted. It was pretty simple. We just welded the Juke actuator, which is what this actually is off of, onto the threaded part from this the GT28, and then hooked everything up. So that's good to go. So now what we can do is put this on. The Redheaded Wonder actually just finished making up the drain line for the turbo. So we're going to throw this on, throw the downpipe on, hook the oil lines up, put the intercooler on, and then we're going to try to fire it up just to make sure everything runs, make sure we don't have any leaks. Then we get to take it all back apart and do a couple little small things, but we're itching to just see this thing fire up, so we're going to go ahead and make that happen.
I need to find a wire for this.
Alright, so we have everything hooked up. It's an open down pipe right now. We haven't finished the exhaust, but I want to make sure there's no oil leaks. So we're going to just fire it up really quick to make sure it idles, make sure that there's no oil leaks. The water system for the intercooler is not hooked up yet. But again, this is just to make sure there's no oil leaks. And then we'll take it back apart. We got to do all the finish work on it. So we're going to crank it over, prime the oil, get it through the feed line, and we'll fire it up. I guess let it rip. Got a huge exhaust leak down that pipe. That gasket didn't seal them.
Oh shit.
Alright, so we fixed a little bit of an issue that we had. Gonna fire it up again. Rev it up a little. It has been running, so don't yell at me for thinking it's cold and we're revving it. It has been running for a little while.
Mad across the room.
It did, it almost blew me off the freaking hose. I was holding it and you closed the throttle and pushed me back.
It's like one of those bad comedies that blows them back.